Oh, I mean, Army, welcome back. Yeah, it is a thirsty Thursday special edition of the Smack Attack on that Art of the B to the B. Richard Bronson Vickery. Well, on the other side of the screen, oh no, it's not Jimmy from Down Under. We have got a very, very special guest joining me here today, ladies and gentlemen. Batten down the hatches, board up the windows, head for the basement. There is a storm coming, and I'm not talking about that super tall, that super sexy, super cosplaying African Queen Jay Cargill. We're talking about a storm that does real deal damage. He is one of my best friends in the business. He has been thriving, surviving in the world of professional wrestling since 1991, son. He has traveled the world, trained by Mr. Charlie Fulton, has even worked as a scout for the Hart family. We're going to talk about all that more, ladies and gentlemen. Hami and Army, give it up for my boy, JT Storm.
Hey, everybody, how you doing today?
Glad
to be here, brother.
I was going to go with the shoot name there, but JT,
you forget to say the Heat Seeker. You keep forgetting to call me the Heat Seeker too.
Well, okay, the Heat Seeker there. Hey, because you know what? As I said, dude, you've been in this business since '91. You've seen a lot of change. You've seen it come and go. You've traveled the world with the NWA, part of their organization. But yeah, the key there again, 91, and yes, JT Storm is one of those angry old vets who doesn't shy from letting today's crop of talents know where maybe they're effing up a little bit.
Right. Yeah, guys, it's just, I'm just very picky, dude. I'm old school, so.
Hell yeah, brother. Well, we hope to share some of that knowledge here with the Hameen Army. Again, a special Thursday SmackAttack. So that means we're going to look back before we hit the record here. JT and I, he was just making sure, like, wait a minute, this is kind of do the math like last week's. It seems like it was so long ago. The fallout from Perth, we're going to talk all about that with the Blue Brand. We've got some news, some headlines, and get to know you a little bit, brother. So, we'll jump into that. Everybody, a little bit of your background. Again, you broke in 1991, trained by Mr. Fulton there. You've worked with the Hart family, helping recruit for the dungeon and things like that, brother. Worked for the NWA. Give us a little bit of, what are you watching with today's professional wrestling product and comparisons to the eras that you were a part of?
Well, it's definitely changed. I mean, back in my day, a lot of stuff was technical and things, and now everything, it seems like there's a lot of spot monkeys out there, that big term. There's a lot of that, and a lot of these kids, I feel, are not being properly trained. They're not, there's some that are being taught the psychology, but then they're not being taught other aspects like etiquette and how to make sense of your moves and how to feel for the main thing is how to feel for the crowd and how to work off of them and get their reactions going and keep them invested the whole time, and there's no dead air and stuff during your matches. So I'm very, very, very vocal about that kind of stuff, but I have plenty of kids that come to me for advice, NWA talent that I deal with right now. There's various people that come to me privately asking for advice, or when I'm at a show, they ask for advice, watch their match, and they're respectful. But then you got the other half, you got the little riffraffs that just blow you off. Oh yeah, thanks. They think they know it all, but then when you rewind their match, it's like, blew that spot. Punches look horrible, and
I know you're currently here. Well,
yes,
you're currently here based out of Ohio, where we met. We know each other about 5 years here from inside the business of professional wrestling. Now, did you start here? Refresh me. Did you start here? Because I know you had moved a little bit. I know you were up in Detroit for a little bit. You were out in the West Coast for a while. Did you train here in the Midwest?
Yeah. So what it was is, so I grew up just loving wrestling. I got the bug back when cable first hit Cincinnati or Ohio. There's a little box with turn channels. ESPN was the first ever sports channel. Southwest Championship Wrestling was on one Saturday when I was a little kid. Killer Tim Brooks was on there, spitting all over the place. And I was hooked. I was like, man, what is this? And so I just followed it. Found out, I kept seeing in wrestling books, want to be a pro wrestler, the Monster Factory, Paulsboro, New Jersey, Pretty Boy Larry Sharp. So I called them up, got a hold of them. I was still in high school. Told me, once you graduate, give us a call. When it came closer to the time, I contacted him. He said, hey, a friend of mine, Charlie Fulton, if you know who he is or don't, is getting ready to open the Monster Factory 2. And so that was the original plan. And so I contacted Charlie, went for a tryout, was his first tryout. I forget how many of us there were. Several people, a lot of people dropped like flies or just weren't coordinated. So it went from a bunch of people to maybe a handful, like Ron Cumberledge, me, Bodacious, Lou Marconi. We're all students from Charlie Fulton. And sending my love out to Irene. Love you, lady. That's Charlie's wife. But yeah, so started there. Yeah.
I would say, go ahead, man. I was gonna say with those roots kind of parallel, how did you get hooked up there? Obviously, you graduate how long were you in the training? And then making that connection, getting out there, getting booked, traveling around locally, and then getting a hookup with the NWA.
So right off the bat, I had Charlie always so the thing was with the school and with the Monster Factory, but Charlie did it too because of his connections. Any of the old timers or anybody that knew Charlie Fulton, everybody I've ever met, because I'm a huge sponge off of vets, and anytime I bring up Charlie's name, everybody said the same thing. Even Ivan Koloff. If we looked on the board and we saw we were working with Charlie, we knew it was a night off. And that's just how it was. He guaranteed us our first match. It could be a dark match, it could be an enhancement match. We got to do that down here at Riverfront Coliseum. And then from there, I just got like a couple bookings. Like I reached out and had to send tapes, tape of my training, my first match to these promoters locally. And there was a Rowdy Ron or somebody down here in Hamilton had a show at Garfield Middle School when I was on the show. And it just took off from there. And then I met Johnny Diamond with the Northern Wrestling Federation. I was there from the ground, from the very, very beginning, before we even had the name Northern Wrestling Federation. So that's how far back I go with it. It was me, Johnny Diamond, Steve Borup, a.k.a. Brett Michaels. Who else was there? Torch, Tarek the Great.
Breeze.
Kahuna. Well, actually, the main ones, the founders, were me, Steve, Ray, which was Kahuna's brother-in-law, Kahuna, and Daryl. There was 5 of us and Johnny Diamond. We started it all. We were the first ones. We started the school. We built the ring. We even built the ring, and it was dude. The ring posts were great, but the ring was wood, and it felt like a ring in Japan or something. I mean, it was like taking a bump on the floor. And we did that for years, and then we picked up from there. And then I started getting bookings in Indiana, Kentucky. Got really popular in Kentucky, Indiana, and Tennessee. And I was never anybody. I never wanted to be. I've never claimed to be anybody. I was just very dependable. I did what I was told, and I never bitched or complained about nothing. And because of that, I got bookings. Yes, I worked for the NWA a handful of times, but that's it. Nothing major. I didn't travel all over. I got to go to overseas, over in the UK, twice, back at 95 for the NWA. I wrestled for Richard Arpin with the NWA West Virginia, Ohio. Jim Miller with PWX, NWA East. And that's about it. And then the rest of it's just been, I've been all over Florida, you name it.
I was going to say, I think you're being a little humble here, JT. Like, I didn't really get to go do much. Yeah, you got to go international. You went to Europe. You wrestled in damn near every state, every major territory back then. You kind of, you were there at those dying days of the territory.
Yeah. I consider, like I always tell people when I talk to the young bucks, I always tell them, like, I feel like me and my class, like with Lou Marconi and all the other guys that I, my brothers and stuff, I feel like we're the last of the old guard. We're the ones that try to protect the business or try to get it to get more like it. It doesn't have to be like it was, but let's get properly trained people. Let's get proper promotions that do things right and stuff. And let's all make money and let's make this what the fans want to see, not this garbage wrestling we keep seeing here, even locally.
Well, I was going to say, you do have, and still today, you've wrestled your last match quite a while ago, but
Yes,
you're
sir.
still heavily involved in professional wrestling. You said you mentor a handful of young talents, helping them try to get booked, going to different places. So let's say someone gets a hold of your number. They hit you up on social media. JT, man, I just went to Halloween Spirit. I got my ring gear ready to go. I got my Asics, my Jordan shoes ready to go, brother. I can go 100 miles per hour. I can do a 917 backflip. What's your advice for me? Get me going, brother. What do you tell those that are
Somebody hit
you?
me up. If somebody hit me up exactly like that, you personally already know what I'm going to say. Hit the road, get trained. Come back and talk to me when you're properly trained. You know the psychology, the etiquette, everything about the business, and you have gear. Gear is important. I'm tired of people saying, well, look at John Cena. He wears shorts. And you know what? That's his gimmick. That's what WWE gave him. He didn't have that before. I knew John before he was John Cena. He was called the prototype. That was back in my days down there in
Well, it was
Jeffersonville, Indiana,
always John Cena, to
Kentucky.
be fair.
Right, and he came out of California, but when he came to the Louisville area and stuff, he was the prototype. And that's when I knew him. Not knew him, but I had met him twice. Hi, that's it. That's it. But that's his gimmick. So people using that excuse, it's lame. Be you. Quit trying to be like Roman Reigns or the Undertaker, because you got these soul takers out, and cocaine and all this stuff with JC. I love JCW. I support them 100%. One of my boys is up there. Thank God he got signed. But it's just the fact that stuff like that, man. Come on. I mean, for JCW it works, but for like other promotions like Armbar, where I work at, that's not going to work for us. We're more into the technical old school style and stuff. So sorry, I'm rambling.
That's all right. Whatever you do with rocking, and just knock that out because your camera keeps moving. You're giving me like a seizure over here. But
Sorry about that.
it's all right, brother. So of today's major product, television product, what are you watching? What are you following?
Honestly, I'm only watching WWE, SmackDown, and Raw. NXT once in a blue moon because I like to see what talent's coming up. As you know, I'm really good at spotting talent. Probably another reason why I got recruited to work for Bruce Hart with Hart Brothers University. My prayers are with Bruce. Hope you get better, my brother. But with that, I like to see what's coming up, and I'm pretty good at spotting like who's going to come up to the main roster. Like the real big African dudes and stuff.
Obi.
Dude, I am a huge fan of his, man. That dude is the it factor. They need to hurry up and get him up to the main roster. I'm telling you.
Well, so we're going to break that. We're going to jump into some guys that are making that transition, some talents that really are making the transition. We'll get your thoughts on those. But since it has been so long, ladies and gentlemen, and we've owed you this Blue Brand review here for a couple of days, trying to organize some things with Jimmy T. You can see that really goes so well out there. Not that about the bus, but let's do it here, brother. Let's jump in all the way back to last week's SmackDown. They were in San Diego, or not San Jose. They're in San Jose. This is going to be what the episode we're talking about is October 17th. This is the fallout back from Perth. where both of our big champions on the blue brand, Tiffy Time and Cody, they were not named the crown jewels. Those went to the Raw champions there. So maybe a somber note, a little bit, a sad day here for the champions representing for the blue brand, but it is back to business as usual. Biggest story coming out of this thing, Kurt. We kick things off. Cody comes out. He's addressing what had happened there in Perth. Nick Aldis, the GM, he makes a big announcement for this SmackDown main event. We're going to get a new number one contender. It is going to be Drew McIntyre. Jacob Fatu. This is our main event scene here, brother. I know. Let's save Fatu because there is a lot more to this story that we want to talk about here. Yes. Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare, almost a picture perfect. I mean, he what he does so well here, in my mind, is that's damn near impossible in this day and age is to get over and stay over as a true babyface. And Cody has accomplished that. Your thoughts on the champ?
Yeah, I agree. I actually, when I saw him come out the way he did, I was like, are they turning him heel? Because he did such a great job. And I honestly think he would make a good heel if he came out like that. I don't know. I'm mixed about it. I'm not a big Cody fan. I am a Drew fan. I've never really been much of a Cody fan. I don't know why.
But he's not to say anything particular, or is it just?
You can only use the "I'm living my dream" thing, if you get what I'm saying.
My story to be told.
Long. Yeah, you can only do that for so long before it gets stale. Like, it's stale to me. You know what I'm saying? You've accomplished what what you've always wanted to accomplish. Believe me, your father is looking down on you and so proud of you. Your family is, everybody in the business is, because you busted your ass all these years to get back here in the WWE and then to become the world champion and stuff and be put in the main event, and you busted your butt. But that whole thing is just, my story's just getting stale. It's taking too long.
Okay. I would say I can see where you're going in that direction. I still think there is some legs with what he's got. But you are exactly right. And I think everybody out there, eventually, when it happens, it's not if, it's when it happens, that heel turn for Cody Rhodes. I think just as magnificent as his babyface run has been, because it is so hard to be that white meat babyface in this day and age, because they want the anti-hero. They want to, it's cool to cheer the bad guys. So it is difficult there. Right. But he is going to be equally as impactful, as impressive, and on top as a heel as he is as a baby. Because you really look at everything built in. He's got the smoking hot wife that a lot of people think has an attitude about her. She's always she likes the name brands, to live the first class life. He's got the premier tour bus. Even with Liberty, it's Cody Rhodes that has cured, not cured or eliminated from society racism, all of that. So there's a lot of things built in that are, unlikable about him. You mentioned
Drew McIntyre suits, wearing Ric Flair suits and Vince McMahon suits every time you see Cody.
dressed to the nines every time, and he's so proper and so professional in everything that he does, that maybe sometimes it is a little hard for the everyday man to relate to. But you'd mentioned Drew in there as well. I think what's so remarkable about Drew is, although the fans absolutely respect and love what he brings to the table, they know how talented he is. He's so damn good that in a time where no matter, like I'm saying, the heels get cheered, he's so good at it, he still draws the heat. He still draws the boos because he is so good at what he does.
Yes. And people don't understand, like, that is a craft. Like, to be a heel, you don't understand how hard that is to. Well, it's easy. People think it's easy because all you got to do is go out there and say, hey, F you, and the fans go wild, right? But, like, perfect example. Forget about Drew just for 1 second, okay? I'll tell you who I am a mark for, and I'm usually not a mark for anybody except for, like, Mad Dog Buzz Sawyer. But Dominic. Dominic, if you saw him, he is the ultimate heel. He didn't have to say anything. His mannerisms, the way he played it, he does his job. And now it's come to the fact that even though he's a heel, he's a tweener now. The fans love him. They
Right.
love him or they hate him.
Well, we got
And that tells you he did his job.
Yeah, so there's a little bit of Dom conversation coming up in this, but it's cold-blooded saying here, Drew is so good. He's like Austin. He can be both face and a heel at the same time. So you can draw that fine line there. Another aspect that makes Drew so impactful and so on top of the game is he knows how to utilize social media to generate that heat and get people talking about his programs. So, I mean, it's great to see him back in this main event. So at the open of this show, I think a lot of fans were really excited. They're thinking, damn, this is going to be Fatu, McIntyre. This is one of those that you and I love. This is old school, no bread, no water, just meat, throw down.
Knuckle sandwiches.
in that main event.
Fingers being thrown.
Now let's get to it, though. The real story here, though, is we know that's not our main event. And there is some deeper lining issues. The reality of this, unfortunately, on the SmackDown, what we see later on is we're getting set up for the main event. Somebody has attacked Jacob Fatu backstage. He has been seriously injured. He is going to
be unable. Teeth were on the floor. Fake teeth were on the floor.
Going to be unable to compete. So Drew's like, just go ahead, raise my hand, brother, raise my hand. Cody comes out and says, no, we're not doing it that way. You know what? We know that you had a hand in this. We know there's dirty dealings, but we're going to give the people of San Diego a match. Let's do it right here, right now. Put the belt on the freaking line. Cody's already pissed because he got screwed over in Perth. He's not the crown jewel. These two absolutely go at it in this main event. They're brawling all over the place. It is getting absolutely physical like you'd expect. Drew, I know a lot of fans were kind of excited thinking, man, they might pull something here. Drew might win this. Drew gets the win, but unfortunately, via disqualification, as we all know, championships can't change hands here.
There's always a curveball.
Now let's talk about this. There is a non-wrestling related injury that has happened to Jacob Fatu. I know you've got some ties there with their bloodlines, if you will. But this looks like this thing could be pretty serious. They could keep Fatu on the sideline well into 2026.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's sad when any of us have illnesses or things that pop up. I mean, you saw what happened with Roman, with his leukemia and stuff like that. Like things pop up, as you already know, a couple months ago, I was given my life sentence of a year, 2 year and a half. Hopefully it'll go longer because I'm doing stem cell therapy and stuff. So, it's just sad. That's personal stuff. There's certain things that you just don't discuss if you have to know things or if you've heard things.
Right.
That's personal. That's
so without going into too much detail, I know you have reached out, you have talked to some in the family. So the feeling there is now they're not ready to disclose too much. So with the sheets, what we're getting here,
none.
But hopefully, we're hoping for a sooner than later a speedy recovery and back at it because the werewolf and French Pickerel, for you guys just joining us here on the other side of the screen there, one of my best friends here in the world of professional wrestling. He has been on the road in the game since 1991. He's worked with the Heart Academy. He's recruited for the Dungeon. He's worked with the NWA international tours. Mr. J.T. Storm joining us, sharing his knowledge of professional wrestling. And we're talking, running down the happenings from the Blue Brand last Friday, getting caught up for you guys before a new episode airs this week. But yeah, so the main event scene, now that we got Jacob, he's going to be out of the picture, which is really disheartening. He was picking up a lot of fans really supporting him.
I felt like they were also setting him up for the main event, or not main event, but that tier. You know what I'm saying? I feel like they were definitely about to elevate him to main event status if he's not already there. And that's usually, as you know, their routine. You start off with tag belts, and you go to the IC or the American US belt. and then you go on to this, and then you end up eventually, if
Yeah,
you know, they
so
think
I know
that
you
you'll
talked.
take the fall.
I don't know if you had this conversation with anybody in the family. I know you've got a few contacts there. There was speculation, and I think I was one of the first ones to throw it out here on our platform. Was there any internal heat inside of WWE from the fallout from the Knox Pro shenanigans with Rampage's kid? Because that was Rikishi's promotion with the ID. And did any of the boys in the company, Solo, that's right when they suddenly took the belt off of Solo. You saw Jacob disappear a little bit. Everybody kind of got, even the twins, the Usos kind of got knocked down for a couple of weeks. And shit rolls uphill. You know how it is. There's a lot of politics.
I haven't heard anything about that at all. I know about the situation. I do know that WWF or WWE reacted accordingly, and I think they did the right thing to disassociate themselves from that. They made the right choice, because you cannot, if you are under WWE's wings or umbrella, you cannot. They have moral clauses in their contracts. Okay, they have moral clauses, and people on the outside don't realize that. So when you misbehave and you do stuff like that, or you make the company look bad, because on all their videos you're advertising WWE ID, WWE this, WWE that, and you're giving them a black eye, you know.
What are your thoughts on the
I
ID
don't think
program
Jacob
itself?
and them. Oh, the ID program.
Go ahead, give me a shoot, because you know it's bullshit.
Okay,
You know it's all
it is
bullshit.
bullshit. It's total bullshit. And it's all it is to help the talent get more work and to ask for more money. Okay, that's all it is in my thing. It's a money grab. It's what it is to me, because WWE gets a percentage.
Well, also, I didn't know if they were getting something like that, but it's also a cutoff for an avenue for AEW to go get Youngtown as well, because now you're signing up. And these ID promotions, they're all run by current WWE superstars or legends. So they've all got the ties. Right. They're all just feeding each other here. But hey, this came back because WWE can't have their finger on every button. They can't control every pulse. And you know what happened there with Rampage's kid is a major backfire for them, and it looks bad.
It's a black eye for our business. No matter how you look at, no matter whose side you choose to be on, okay, it never should have went down like that. What happens is, with a lot of these promotions, is they get a big head because they're WWE sponsored, or they're part of a family that's part of it and stuff. And you have too many Indians and not enough Chiefs running the show. You got the prisoners running the prison. You know, that show, you come to our shows at Armbar, our locker room is nothing like that. Everything is run to a queue. We've got everything. Like, we don't allow egos, we don't allow drinking, drugs, smoking, no nothing. I mean, we are run professionally. And and when you get comfortable, when you have the name of Knox Pro and the reputation and everybody they've done, you got like Black Pearl and them. No disrespect to these guys, okay? No disrespect whatsoever to any of these guys. I respect them all, but you guys know better. You know better. You know, I don't have the status you guys have, and I know better. You know, if our promotion would have gotten picked up with WWID, we would never have a problem with WWE. They would never have a problem with us. You know, and that's because of the way we run it. We don't let the workers work us, and we don't let the workers run the show. We run the show. You do it our way. If not, hey, we'll just part ways. It was nice working with you. We're not dicks about nothing. Nice working with you. But we've never had that problem. We've never had that problem, and we never will. You know, I mean, it might. I can't say never, but but I think, honestly, I mean, what do you think? Don't you think that's probably the problem? You got too many prisoners running the prison.
Well, it's a lot of people, you know, your weekend warriors, your cosplay that want to pretend to professional wrestling, not making that commitment, not studying, not even, properly learning the business. You know, when we're seeing people that have only been performing in ring for like maybe 2 or 3 years, and they're running seminars or they're opening school. I mean,
I was about to bring that up. That cracks me up, dude. Look, I was in the business for a very long time. I was an assistant trainer with Ledbetter for a local promotion called APW, and man, I'm just telling you, it's just you know what I'm getting at, right?
Yeah, I mean, it is, and it's the problem is there's not a lot of people want to dip their toe into it. You got to submerge yourself. You got to jump into the deep end with professional wrestling and completely embody it. It has to become who you are to fully to just be able to begin to understand it, let alone be able to get out there and execute that. But you were talking about that eye for talent there, Kurt. So we'll get back to the SmackDown here. We got the main event scene. We're going to continue on, roll on. I'm looking forward to more of this with Cody and Drew. I think two of my favorites. Absolutely devastating news about Jacob Fatu, who was picking up so much steam. But we also have this was a little bit of a surprise from it last week in the Sami Zayn Open Challenge. Dragunov, talk about one of those young talents you had an eye on. It was coming up from NXT. He comes out, answers the challenge, and I mean, he's Russian, but he is the new United States champion. I was at the track Friday, so I come back Saturday morning. I watch this thing. I heard that the news broke. I was stunned by this. Maybe not necessarily in a good way. I don't think that I am not so high. I don't see a lot of positive going here for Dragunov. I know he's a workhorse. I know he's put together. He is small. Right. He is small in stature. So, but to me, immediately here, this is the same style of booking that they're going to rely on that I think is failing so many talents, even like a Stephanie Vaquer, who they brought up, who can absolutely go. She looks amazing. Come on, man. That devil's kiss on that devil's ass when it gets puckered off. People love that, but she knows she knows a good sell. She works damn hard on that body, so show it off. But we didn't have a character for her. We didn't have a connection with the audience. We don't have a storyline. Simply bringing somebody up and putting the belt on them and say, oh, they're just going to go wrestle. You're going to lose interest in the fans.
Really quick. Like the whole story with Bayley. She started off as a fan, got into WWE and NXT. She built her character. And then when she came to, when she got to the main roster, she built it. And then they put the belt on her. They didn't just throw it on her. I don't know. They're bookings all over the place right now. And they got, and the sad thing is they got really good writers there. And they got some good producers there. Abyss. You saying he's a bad writer?
Who?
I mean, come on, Chris Park, Abyss.
He's an agent. He's not doing creative. He's an agent.
I know he's an agent, but producer, agent, it's all the same.
And now they're going to be relying on, they just announced that they brought in a dude, CIA ops stuff, where they're going to be having AI bot, right? Wrestling. Yeah, they're going with that stuff. They've hired in a firm they're working with where you input. I don't even know. The story was kind of weird. Like they're inputting WWE information into the AI computer program so that it can start generating future story, creative direction, video packages, things of that nature.
I'm okay with that. I mean, that's an advancement now. I'm not okay with. No. Listen, what I mean is, I'm not okay with if they start using AI. People like you've been seeing newscasters where they're surprising you. You think you're actually watching a newscast, and then you find out at the end she goes, "Oh, by the way, I'm really AI," and you thought it was real the whole time. Now, is that the future for wrestling, where we're not gonna be in business no more, and they're just gonna have TV shows with AI wrestlers?
The Saudis are buying wrestling. They're going to get their dream matches. They're going to get Macho Man versus The Rock. Bruno versus Stone Cold. That's going to be the WrestleMania 2 years in Saudi. It's going to be all AI generated dream matches that they are still think that these guys are still kicking, walking around. But come on, Storm. You are telling me that anywhere, and it is the norm. A lot of people are thinking like, we can't fight this thing. It's coming. It is magnificent what it's already doing. It is crazy. It's almost terrifying. But when it comes to the creative side, and we'll stick with any creative writing for television, whatever it is, but for the sake of our conversation, professional wrestling, you need that human element. You need that real raw emotion for that connection.
Well, what I meant by me agreeing with and okay with the AI helping with the storylines and stuff is you use it as bullet points. You don't have to use it religiously or read it like the Bible. You know, you look at it, you see the what the results are or whatever, however that works, and you go, okay, that's a good idea. Let's try to work that into it and stuff like you know what I'm saying. So you can still have that human element and I think that's what's going to happen, and I'm okay with that. But if you let AI totally take over the storylines and stuff, I'm not okay with that.
Well, and I know you think they got great writers. You're one of the few I've seen that I've heard say that with WWE right now. I think they're gaining a huge pass because it is better because it was so bad for so long. But they're only operating. I think at the highest peak, we're getting about 40% of the possibility. And I
Yeah,
understand. You know, people are
I
always like,
agree.
well,
I agree.
look at business. Look at how good business is. Well, great. Imagine how much better it could be if you actually had good characters and good storytelling to complement.
Yes.
You
Yep.
know, they talk about the MVPs. It's not Triple H and the creative team and the superstars. It's the snake oil swords. It's the super shark agents at the top of TKO that are selling, you know, this spectacle. I
Yeah.
I I get a lot of heat because I've been saying for a while on the platform here. TKO is not in the professional wrestling business. It is
Thank you.
just a product. It is a
Let
catalyst for
us
them.
let us take care of our business. You can run it as in like financially and stuff like that or whatever,
Well,
producing TV, but
TKO
leave
is
the
in the
rest of it to
business.
us.
They're in the business of big time, spectacular events, streaming or branding, social media, those types of things. And they're in their blueprint. Their business plan, it works the same for WWE, for UFC, professional bull riding, or whatever hell property that they're going to buy. They can just rinse and repeat with those. Those
Right.
guys are selling this as a major spectacle, as the pops. That's why we get 20 minutes of eating and the big returns, the music, the sing along. That's what they're selling. That's what's
Yeah.
going on right now. We do
Yeah.
have a new United States champion. This kind of intertwines into the men's tag division because we get some post-match shenanigans. Dragunov upsets maybe Sami Zayn in the open challenge here. Sign of
Yeah.
respect. Sign of respect. But
Right.
my family tree, who shows no respect for anybody, they make their way out to the ring. Solo and his group, the Tongans and the Tala, the other Tongans, and a guy that is close to you, um, JT
Jeff
Mateo,
Cobb.
meat and
Yes.
potatoes, as I like to call him, meat and potatoes. You're not a fan of the renaming of Cobb and all that.
No.
You've talked to the
No.
family. What's his experience been like
So,
with WWE so far?
so I met Cobb when he first got in the business out in Sacramento. And my stepson Ben was in amateur wrestling and really looked up to Jeff in his amateur wrestling background. And so I've got like gobs of pictures of the two of them like locking up, behind the scenes. And Jeff took the time to sit and he took the thanks, Frank. He took the time to talk to him, give him advice and things like that, and that just showed me what kind of person he is. And so I kept in contact with him while I was there. There was a lot of talent that came out of there that is on the screen now. You got Jeff Cobb, you got Brian Cage, you got Jr. Kratos. These are all guys I met out there in Sacramento while I was, scouting and stuff for Bruce and them for HBU. And and I got to meet these people at the SWF show, Sacramento Wrestling Federation, and then my good friend John Cooper up there with WCCWF or something like that up in Yolo County, up in Yolo, Yuba City, California. I'm sorry, John. I am sorry. Very good friend. Man, went from 25 people to now he draws hundreds. Because I connected him with my mentor. But anyways, point is, I met these guys during that time. They all came out of California, and these guys are stars. And I'm glad they're finally being able to be seen and shine because they deserve it. It's just been a long time in the making. Like this isn't Jeff's first time. I don't know if you know that or not. Him and Brian Cage, because I remember when they were working out. Jeff, if you are watching, which I doubt, but if you are, I remember when you and Brian Cage were working out and you guys were discussing about how can we be seen by the WWE. I remember that conversation, what you needed to do to improve yourself to do that. I remember hearing you two talk about that, and I'll never forget that. But I think that was up in that was up in Yuba City.
So when Cobb gets there to WWE, obviously, he's added in here to my family tree. They're given prominent television time. They are that mid-level faction, but hey, you got to have all parts to make the machine go. They're getting regular time. They're involved in some storylines here. There wasn't a little bit noticeable though, where maybe, hey, that's some good catering there at WWE. That he maybe did. Did you hear anything like that of losing drive? He put on a little weight that he had to buckle down.
No, Jeff's always been a big guy. I mean,
he's a little noticeable. I've followed him on the Indies and elsewhere as well.
I'm telling you, if you see, well, yeah, I mean, he's gained a little weight, but I mean, who doesn't? I mean, look at how old he is now, and he finally got got his surprise. He finally got his surprised everybody when he made his debut, right? That was held quiet from everybody, friends, family, everybody. Nobody knew but WWE people, So like it even shocked me. Like when my wife jumped up and was like, "That's Jeff," and I was like, "Whoa, when did he sign with WWE?" Like I didn't even know that. Nobody knew, and never heard no words from anybody about it, and it's just crazy. And I'm proud of him. I wish they would do more with him. I wish they would separate him, give him a new gimmick, something like let him. I'll tell you what, let him and Rusev go at it. You want to talk about haymakers or even Sheamus?
We actually talked about that on this platform on a couple of shows about putting those two together.
Oh, I'd want to see the three of them in a three-way, or Jeff with Sheamus. I mean, there would be some haymakers, and I guarantee you it'd be a lot more interesting than watching Sheamus and Rusev go at it, because that got old really, really quick.
Yeah, I think we actually, now that's funny that you mentioned that, on a couple of shows, we had talked about, man, we would love to see those two hook up or even become a tag team, like a force together. I think we were calling them, like, instead of Rusev Day, we were calling them a Cobb Day or something like that. Now that you mentioned it, that was a conversation I think that I had with the vet. I think the vet, Jimmy T, and I had that conversation. So also, as we got my family tree out there, we see Ray Phoenix, he's involved. Do you think it will kind of tie this in? Because, man, tag team wrestling in the WWE, red and blue, for the men, is absolutely the drizzling shits. It's terrible. Yeah. And it has been for very, very long. And what's frustrating about it, JT, is that there is a lot of talent there. Now, we do see Ray Phoenix is involved here as a singles wrestler. He was in a tag team with Andrade. We all know that story. He's been dismissed. He might be on the shelf for a year if they can get that non-compete to hold up there with him getting fired. I'm getting the feeling here we're going to see Sammy and Ray Phoenix form together as a tag team, which I think could be a lot of fun if you like that high-flying, athletic style there. I think those two could have a lot of fun together.
I'm being honest with you, bro. I do not like Sami Zayn. He's a hell of a guy, hell of a worker and everything. But the problem is it's just oversaturated, and I'm tired of seeing it. I'm tired of it. Put the belt on him already so he can be happy and do what he's going to do. Quit pushing him over the new talent. Our job as vets, like Sammy and them, when you got new talent coming in, is to elevate them, to help put them over so that they can get that as you're winding down in your career, so to sit there and constantly see him week after week. And
wouldn't it kind of be that? I mean, he just hands the belt, the United States Championship off, which a belt he didn't have, so he can have that. That's nice for his resume. He hands that off to Dragunov, and now they're going to transition him here into a tag. That's kind of giving the rub to Phoenix inside of the WWE universe, where Sammy's much more established.
Yeah, but the problem is like you're establishing him, but you're doing a tag team with a lucha, okay? And you're a technical old school guy, and so how long is that going to last? How popular is that going to get with the fans? Like
You know how to
honestly,
make it popular? You know how to make it popular? Now
put
you're
a
saying
mask on
which
him,
kind? Yes.
make him go back and put his foot on. There you go.
What El
That would be a good
Generico?
idea.
El
There you go.
Generico, have him bring out
Makes
the
a
lucha
return.
style with Ray
Now
Phoenix.
then, now that I would give my thumbs up to.
I know it's
So
an
Chris
old
Parks, this
return.
get that done.
It's an old return, but it's what's old is new again. It's fresh for the WWE
Yes.
universe, and
Oh,
us
the
old
fans,
school would love it.
dude. Let me ask you something. Your honest opinion. I know how critical you can be. That's why we get along so good, right? So let me ask you this. Let's say they're about to introduce them to come out to the ring, right? Ray Phoenix comes out, yeah, crowd goes nuts. Then they start to play Sami Zayn's music. They're expecting, they pop. All of a sudden, here comes El Generico doing his little coming out like Sammy does, right? That crowd would absolutely lose it because they know his history.
Well, do they? So I would go a little bit further than that. I would have Sammy in my family tree, like in some sort of beatdown, where like Sammy's getting stretchered out. We see the ambulance, like on his way out, he stops and he has Phoenix come over and he hands him a piece of paper or something, and it says, "Contact this guy." And then Phoenix goes on the journey goes into Mexico, wherever El Generico has been with the children for this decade or so. And he has to go, and you show us that journey. Then you
Okay.
have Generico come back. And then
I like that idea.
I'm telling you, and now we're selling El Generico mask. You've got old school fans popping, you've got new fans popping, and you have another big entrance that they're selling there. So I think it's something of interest there.
Now, what do you think about this idea too? This popped in my head one time too. If you had El Generico debut, like I like your idea with he gets stretchered out, right? Ray Phoenix, and this is during the match, and for the tag titles, we'll say, right? Let's say it's for the tag titles. Sammy gets injured, X is up, so well, fans don't know what that means, but X gets
everybody knows what it means now.
Oh yeah, but you work the crowd with that X, right? Sammy's getting stretchered out. Ray Phoenix is out there like, "Oh, you okay, right?" And he's getting stretched out. He's got this, but underneath his outfit, he's already got his El Generico tights on, right? So all he has to do is they stretcher him in the back, and then Ray's getting beat the hell down, right? And who saves the day? El Generico comes running down. Everybody, whoa, wait a minute. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's the kind of storyline I like. That's exciting to me. If I was a fan, that would blow my mind. I'd be like, whoa, I would pop like crazy on that. And I
So
don't
we
pop
do
very
have
easy.
we do have my family tree now. They're beating down the baby faces. Ray's out there, Phoenix is out there. We get the Wyatt Six, our
Right.
Mystic Beings. They make their appearance here, the tag team champions. Your thoughts there on the champs?
I'm. Oh man, I saw the documentary and everything, and I really feel for the family and all that. And it's not taking off the way. I don't feel it's taking off the way they thought it was going to be. I think they thought it was going to be like, he's taking over Bray's spot. He's memorializing him. He's paying homage to him and everything, and he's doing this character. And then to me, I was expecting like a big. I was hoping it would be a big, like a Bray Wyatt moment, right, with the crowd. And it just hasn't been there. It's not like I'm hearing. You see other people getting more cheers, more pops from the crowd than they are. I did like the segment. I don't know. You're probably about to bring it up, but I did like the segment between the two. That happened in the ring, the stare down and the face off.
Right. Yeah, that's at the end there. So
Did like
they
that.
run the heels off there. So you got the factions versus factions. I think is fine. A good mid card little
Right.
story that we
Right.
need. But again, we did have some other SmackDown men's tag division stuff. We had the Guns versus with the Garza and them. It's just they all shuffle them together because then right after that the guns go over, then what are we in the back? You got Fraxium's watching on the big screen, then DIY, they all just have to pop in. It's just this big cluster with no direction, no real connection with the audience.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% on it. Definitely.
But with tag team wrestling, there is a division. Might not be the hottest burning things up right now, but I am a little excited about one because everybody here on our platform, the HMG, know my admiration for the one, the only, the lovely Shar, Miss Charlotte Flair. She has reignited her passion. She has a new glow that she has been this new alliance with Alexa Bliss, the not best friends thing, getting over here. They're out there wowing. They go over. They have a big match here. They take on Zarya and Sol Ruka from NXT. I love me some Sol Ruka. Reminds me of one of my ex-girlfriends there. Just that carefree wild child, that hot, beachy, dirty, hair blonde. Real quick on that, Sol gets an injury here in this match, but the women's tag division heating up a little bit. There's a good match here. I liked everybody involved with it. Really gets me excited. I think one of my favorite moments from this week in WWE, though, happened on Raw, and it's that the Kabuki Warriors are on the same page, and now they are ready for some gold, and they put the tag division on notice. I love that promo package from Asuka, Insane on Raw there.
Yeah. Look, I've always been a huge fan of Asuka, always have. I love strong style. I love the Japanese wrestlers. If any chance, I only got to work with a couple of them here in the U.S., but it's fun. It's a learning thing. That's for sure. With the communication and everything, the language barrier. But it's fun. But you learn a lot too. And I do like the storyline that they've been doing with Charlotte and with what's her name,
Bliss.
Bliss with the best friends thing. I love it, especially. I don't know if you saw the latest like TikTok or something where she's singing, Charlotte's singing something or lip syncing something, and then all of a sudden you just see the little doll come up and go, "Oh."
Now, I usually loathe. I can't stand like when the talents are using the TikTok. But for this case, as you were talking about earlier, if it's like gear or how you're acting, it works for these two because they're doing the best friends, the odd couple kind of thing, and they're having fun, and that's what they're about. It was about bringing that glow back to Charlotte. After
and I think
whatever she was going through and the struggles with the crowd, and she's back on that level again, and it took someone of that caliber of Alexa Bliss to bring that out in her.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think Charlotte is finally, in my opinion, just outside looking in, it seems like she's more humble now after all this personal things she was going through, mental health issues, and her divorce and all that. Like she's changed. And like I was never really a fan of hers just because of the fact that I don't like egos and cockiness and it's outside of the cameras. Okay, there's too many stories about her in the past, but I was always taught by Charlie to be humble. Anybody that was trained by an old school guy like Charlie or Pretty Boy Larry Sharp or Ron Hutchinson, they always teach you one thing. They always teach you is to be humble. And I never felt like she was humble. I felt like she was always, I'm Ric Flair's daughter.
Big boot. That's big boots to fill.
And you know what? And I think she surpassed it. To be honest with you, I almost. You know what I mean by that? As in, like, she for a female worker and being a second generation, it didn't hurt her like it did, like we'll say Ted DiBiase's son, right? There's certain people that worked with Randy Orton. It's working with Charlotte, but there's other second, third generations that just doesn't work with. But I like this new character. I like that she's being humble, more playful, and we're getting to see the real her. She's peeled those the onion leaves and stuff, and you get to see the real Charlotte now, and that draws me to it.
It does. It feels like there's a natural vibe, a chemistry with her and Bliss. But I'm looking forward to when those Kabuki Warriors come calling and they want those belts. I think that's going to be a lot of fun for that program.
Yeah, that's going to be good, and especially when Charlotte and Asuka get in the ring, because those two. I mean, dude, I watch things and Asuka's stiff, dude. I mean, she throws in some taters. I'm telling you, and but Charlotte gives it right back. I've seen Charlotte get pissed off in the ring and give taters back to people like Nia Jackson. I mean,
I that's kind
she
of
don't
a
mess
combo
around.
because you can have those two going at it because we've seen the great battles that they've had, the matches they put on in the past. But then to complement that, you got the smaller styles of Carrie and Bliss
Yeah.
that could,
Yeah.
that'll be able to work well inside of that.
Oh yeah, definitely, 100%. So I think it's gonna be a really good program. I think it should. I think the crowd's gonna really get like involved in it and sold
Yeah.
into it.
Again, it's one of those good things, some intrigue, and it's what they need a lot of in this company right now, some intrigue and going forward. Let me ask you this, JT, and I ask everybody this because it's apparently above my pay grade in professional wrestling. I can't figure it out. I've been asking for, I think 10 months now. Why are we supposed to cheer Tiffany Stratton? What is likable about her? What says babyface about her, but yet they continue to push her in that direction?
That's a soft subject. That's a soft subject for me because I'm a huge fan of hers. I love her work. I love everything she does. I think she's doing her job. She's doing what she's supposed to do, and I think she's
She
a hell of
is.
a talent. She's a hell of a talent.
But as a character, as a fan,
Yeah.
what is she doing that connects with me to say, you know what, I like that person? Because what she is, right? What Tippy Time is a arrogant, conniving, manipulative valley girl who in the movies is the one we cheer when they get pushed in front of a bus. That's the kind of person, the character that Tippy Time is, but yet they push her as a babyface.
Yeah, I don't know if they're pushing her as a babyface or a tweener, to be honest with you. I mean, look, how's it any different than a girl? I don't even remember her name because she means nothing to me. But what about the girl that they keep pushing that basically is doing the same thing down in AEW?
Oh, Blake Monroe. She was actually on the show because remember she came out.
Whoever's doing a little vengeance and sounding very old and stuck up and everything, she's doing oh my god and
It's
that
Blake
girl.
Monroe. Hey, the artist has got it right
Monroe?
here. It's the gimmicks. We're just supposed to cheer. It's not Tiffy Time. It's big old titty time, and that's what they think that we're going to cheer.
Not me. I just enjoy watching her work.
Yeah, so
her and Cargill are my two favorites right now in WWE. They are the top talents in my opinion.
Well, I ask you why I got you here. I know it's a little bit of old news, but something as you would see as a coach, an eye for talent, or how you guys would handle this in your locker rooms. Speaking of the SmackDown Women's Division, and then we'll wrap up our SmackDown talk here and get into a couple of the up-to-date headlines. But going back a couple weeks ago, it happened on a SmackDown, but we have the big whoopsie. The referee, doesn't go through with the final count. Nia doesn't kick out while Tippy's on top of her. Jade's involved in that. That's where Jade got split open the hard way on those steps.
I've had the same thing.
How are you handling that? First of all, where did the coaching go wrong that we even got to that?
I don't see. People don't understand. Okay, look, there's a lot. When you're a referee, for instance, you got a lot going on. Especially when you're a WWE referee, okay, you're worrying about doing your job. You got the back yelling in your ear about the time. Okay, we need to cut it short. I need you guys. Okay, tell them to go ahead and go outside. So this referee is not only doing his job as a referee, trying to keep track of everybody and everything, but then like mistakes happen all the time. It has nothing to do with training because if you're at that level, if you're on TV, you've been trained properly. Believe me, with all the guest trainers and Robbie Brookstone and all them down there, they're trained before they come to the main roster. It's just even the referees. It's just accidents happen, mistakes happen, and you either cover it up or you're going to have the producers in your ear saying, "Hey, you fucked up." This is how we're going to finish it then.
A lot of the fans
so they change the finish on the fly.
A lot of the fans will say in the training, the refs that you've worked with, are they told to just count that, or is it nowadays? Okay, and I know that's the old school, but
if you don't get your shoulders up,
okay, then
unless it's a title match, because if they didn't have it planned that this like we'll just say Nia was gonna win a belt, and and then or she was the champion, and then she got pinned because the referee did this recount because she didn't get her shoulder up quick enough. They're gonna play it off like, oh yeah, she got it up just in time. They're gonna play it up to cover it because they're not gonna let that title change hands because the referee fucked up. I can tell you, or messed up. I can tell you that. So, and that's just from my experience. Like I've worked for two promotions where I had earpieces in, and I was watching the show, and I was in the ears of the referees telling them, tell him he needs to work the crowd. The crowd's dead. He's just sitting there with a headlock, not trying to do anything. They're not making any emotions. Tell them this and that. So that's what I mean. They're trying to do their job, keeping track of the match, you know, hand fall, pinfalls and all that other stuff. But then they got me in their ear saying, tell the guy he needs to work the crowd, blah, 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 because there's crickets out there. So I mean, they got a lot going on. It's a lot of stress. It's more stress than us workers, in my opinion.
All right, so after the incident happens, it's there. Everyone was pointing fingers. This shouldn't happen. Example, let's say things happen, everything doesn't go as planned, and you got to work on the fly. You got to be able to adjust. Something like this happens at, let's say, where you're working at here, one of the best up and coming indie promotions out there, Armbar Pro Wrestling. Something like that happens when they get back through to the curtain. How are you guys? How are you guys handling it? Is it tear into their rip them a new one? Or?
No. Like, we're very professional about it. We'll just ask them, like, hey, what happened? And because we don't, like, we're not, like, I understand WWE puts a lot of pressure on their talent. They're assholes behind the curtain to their talent and stuff like that, and their referees. Everybody's treated like crap, whether you want to believe it or not. They do get treated like crap, and they would get yelled at, preached at, or you got what's his name in the back sitting there, huffing and puffing, and he'll just walk away and turn. So you got heat with him now. Then you're going to be punished. It's just, but with the indies, I mean, we're very respectful. And if one of our referees made a mistake, we're just going to sit there and be like, hey, what happened? Just try to pay attention next time, or, make sure there's better communication with everybody in the ring. And that's it, and that's how it should be.
Learn from it. Try to make sure it doesn't happen again.
Right. It's like what I do when I help people or mentor or critique or whatever you want to call it. When talent comes to me, I don't yell at them. That's why I don't understand when people say I'm an angry, grumpy vet and this and that. Like, I have never, dude, the way I'm talking to you and the fans out here, okay, at SmackAttack, like Bones and all that, dude, I'm telling you, like, I I sit there and talk to them like this, like, hey, I saw this, and you might want to tweak it, maybe do this or try this or that, or don't be nervous when you do a leg drop. Quit doing it across the chest. Like my finishing was a leg drop off the top. That's why my tailbone's it's all jacked up and been broken 3 times, and my hips. But like, I'm very anal about that. But I'm not anal. I tell them, like, hey, it's not that hard. Get over the nervousness. You're not going to hurt them, and if you do, hey, it's part of the business. If you can't take it, get out the business.
It's a physical. It's a physical game.
It's going to happen. Taters are going to happen. Accidents are going to happen. Receipts are going to happen. You just can't. And if you can't handle, I had a guy in the '90s, and I ain't gonna say his name because he's a good friend of mine. But I remember working with him one time, and I'm in there. I work snug. I'm not stiff. I'm not a crowbar. I was always snug. I made it look good. That's how I was taught, right? If you saw my matches, it was tight, but I was never stiff. And I had this guy. I'll just call him that. And I'm in there, and we start off at the beginning, and then we're throwing haymakers, because it was a program we had going on. So we're battling. We get in the corner. He's like, brother, loosen up, man. Feather up. We call it feathering. Feather up, feather up. And I'm just like, dude. And I told him, even then, I said, dude, if you can't handle this, you need to get the out the business. I will tell people that's the one time I will shoot on somebody in the ring about that. Because if I accidentally punch you or if I'm laying them in, but they're hitting you, but they're not hurting you, and you complain and say, "Oh, loosen up," because you don't want me to touch you, even when I'm punching you, get the hell out of the business. And if you hit me with a soft blow and it don't look right, I'm not going to sell it. I'm going to stand there and be like this. I'll be that asshole because I want it to look good for the fans. I don't want them saying, you fucked up, and stuff like that, you know? So this business is crazy now, you know?
I think that is a good transition there. That was your SmackDown headlines there. But as you're talking about, the way that you paved your way, your niche. I know you said you don't watch a lot of AEW, but you follow the headlines. You know what people are talking about out there. So
Yes,
this
sir. Yep.
past weekend at Wrestle Dream, one of the hot topics coming out of there was the finish in their main event. It was John Moxley versus Darby Allin, an I Quit match, and the hot button conversation is Moxley trying to drown Darby Allin in a fish tank inside of the match. I don't want to necessarily talk about if that's right or wrong, but in a grand picture here, because you found a niche in your career as a deathmatch guy. You made a lot of
At
money.
one
You got a
point.
lot of bookings.
At one point.
So we'll jump in. You can tell your story around this, how you got into it, some of your memories, what you brought to shows. But AEW gets a lot of negative energy and attention because of that style. The sporks to the head, the staple guns, the chains, the hangings, all of that. This spot here where they're literally drowning somebody to try to get to win a match. As a deathmatch guy at one point in your career, is there a spot for that style of wrestling on the mainstream?
No, not on mainstream, I don't think. I mean, that's stuff you see with Pondo and them, or the old CCW and all those guys. That ain't stuff that should be on TV. Like, look, they're just trying to do a shock value. They're trying to be the new Attitude Era because their ratings are down. Everything else is, yeah, exactly. AEW is too indie for prime time. You're exactly right. I agree with you 100% on that. There, I don't like. That's why I'm not an AEW fan. I love a lot of the guys on the program, but not enough. I'm not invested enough in their characters or their storylines to watch it. That
So
says a lot.
what you got when you say that indie stuff, and obviously, yeah, I know the difference there, but I'm just painting the picture here for the conversation for the audience.
Mhm.
There's a lot of things that work for indie shows and on the indie level that have no business getting to
Correct.
television because they're too
Correct.
carny, they're too cornbally.
Yeah.
Just something as simple and fun is like it drives me freaking out of my mind. I just want to strangle somebody when I see it, like on the indie shows and they're doing the Star Wars, like the Jedi stuff or something like that. You regular, and it's kind of like but the death matches, it is a part, there is a very niche audience out there that enjoys it. So how did you get caught? How did you find your way? I won't say caught up in it because, like I said, you got a lot of
So,
paydays from it, but you did the death match.
okay, well, I did it, but I didn't do it. I didn't make a living at it like Pondo and them. Like I did it sporadically because I was not gonna let broken glass cut, slice, and dice my back. There's just absolutely no way I was gonna do that. But I would do like my very first time was I love you, Jeff Trexler from Mega Championship Wrestling. Their very first show back in the '90s. I had to work Madman Pondo. I'd never been in a hardcore match. I'd only been what the old school people would consider hardcore back in the day, like chain matches, barbed wire, or cage matches, like stuff like that. Not this whole four corners death match. Well, I'm going to be straight up. I was nervous as hell, and God
I
love
can
Pondo
imagine.
walked me through it. Pondo walked me through it. He said, "I'll take care of you." He made me feel at ease. I was still nervous going out there. I thought we had a hell of a match. The ending kind of got screwed because, once again, there's your broken glass. So, we did the like two part, or I think it was like two. Yeah, it was like tubes or something in one of the corners in a box. we had mouse traps, we had barbed wire and thumbtacks. And when it came to the light tubes or whatever, as soon as I hit that, or was it broken? I don't remember. It was glass. All I know is it was glass, and it got in my eye. And I told him, I said, we got to take this home. Like, I was afraid I was going to lose my eye. I mean, I'm closing my eye. It's watering. I could feel it inside. It was scratching. But we finished the match. We didn't take it home early. Pondo took care of me. And ever since then, we've been friends. I respect that mofo. He walked me through. He took care of me, dude. And he takes care of everybody he works with. That's a true professional in hardcore. Not these guys like, here, let's pop the fans and get really gory. I've had my times with the staple and, Pondo. I couldn't tell you how many times had $20, $5, $1 bills stapled all over my head, my arms. I've got tattoos on my arm that are all scarred up, and it's from the hardcore days, because of what we have to do to sell the match. And but it is what it is. For TV, I don't think it's good, especially with the children watching and stuff. Like, here, oh, check this out. I want to. You got too many kids out there trying stuff, and then to sit there and say, oh, I wonder what would happen if I took my little 5-year-old brother and put him in our fish tank.
Yeah.
Or my little 1-year-old brother, while I have to babysit him while mom and dad goes to the store. I just saw that and I'm like, yeah, I wonder if that really works. And then just throw, oh, I'm just playing. See, it's not real.
This one kind of popped me though. But when you're putting those together, there's cold-blooded saying here, I suppose it's not truly a death match unless you're legitimately trying to kill your opponent, though, right?
Exactly. I agree with that. I agree with that 100%.
But it is know the audience, know whose eyes are on your product. And you're the importance of, kids are watching this. You want to be able to sell to that wider audience, but also for your advertisers, for your sponsors, even if it's on, a local show. How do you feel about this? This is when it always gets me, and I feel uncomfortable at times. It shows that they're out there pounding, we're family friendly, we're for everybody. Bring your, grandma, grandpa, aunts and uncles, cousins. The whole community can come on down, and they got all these different matches, and then we got a hardcore division, and now we got people bleeding out there, on an indie level. And as you said, maybe they don't have the level of a Pondo with the the respect for that art. They're just out there going through these spots looking for their social media moments with something.
Clicks. Right.
Because I know you and I worked.
Oh, good.
Go ahead. I was going to say, you and I worked a show together. There's one of these things going on right now about the light tubes coming through. You and I were working a show together. I was ring announcing. You were helping in the back on that, and they used some light tubes. And I remember as they swung, it shot way over the ring, and it hit a lady in the audience right next to her eye. And it was a very scary moment.
Yeah. And it is, and that's why I don't like when I did hardcore or whatever you want to call it, that's why I don't say death match. I wasn't a death match guy. Never was, never would be. I did one death match, if you want to call it that, and I was with Pondo. The rest of them were just hardcore matches. You can always refuse to do certain things. And one thing I always refused to do was light tubes and glass. Anything that had to do with glass after what happened to me the first time, nope. And plus, I don't want my back cut up. I've seen too many incidents and accidents through CCW and them or shows where people went all the way down to the bone just from a light tube. Because once it broke, there's shards all over. They get slammed on it. They don't always shatter. That's why they think, oh, the light tubes, they'll shatter as soon as it shatters. It shatters more if you hit it again. No, there's still shards that still stick. I've got a scar on my back from a piece that got me from that show, and I still have it. You can feel it, and you can feel the indentation and everything. And it was from a big piece of shard of glass of the light tube stuck right in my back. So that's why I never did that. That's one thing I always refused. And if they didn't want to book me because of it, so be it. I'm looking out for me. I'm looking out for my safety and longevity.
I know you're sharing some of your battle scars now. What kind of advice would you give to those young up and comers about protecting their body for, the long run? beyond, just that little stretch where they think they're over, they're in that spot, like they're in their prime, they're having. I'm not trying to knock it on that, but you yourself, man, you deal with some health stuff here, and I'm sure looking back, you even think like, man, I should have done this, handled myself a little bit better in these situations, or maybe even died or something like that.
Look, I always tell these kids, don't end up like me. I've had a tier 4 neck fusion, within the last year. I still have to have one more fusion below it. My spine, dude, is so jacked up. I have 6 compression fractures. My tailbone is all twisted up. It's been broken 3 times. I've been diagnosed with TBI, traumatic brain injury. I have all the markers of CTE from all the concussions, or they set us from the concussions, and this is all documented. You know me, I'm an open book, dude. I posted my medical records. I don't care about HIPAA because I'm exposing it. All my diagnosis, and it's from wrestling. It's from all those years wrestling because I didn't take care of myself the way I should. I'm going to be honest with you. In my day, we lived on pain pills and we lived on athletic tape and super glue. That's it. You broke something. You weren't off the road for. If I broke my wrist, I was still wrestling. If I sprained my ankles or anything, I just taped it up with athletic tape. Here's my best one. Okay, fans dig this, and this is documented too. Still to this day, I can't figure out how this happened. This was with the NWF, matter of fact, before Roger and them. So I was being tossed over. I think it was with Tarek. Matter of fact, Tarek the Great. I was being tossed over the top rope, and somehow my boot got tangled between the top and middle rope on my left leg, and I was dangling. I felt a pop, and my calf just swelled up like this. Well, come to find out, I had a partially torn Achilles tendon, and it was almost completely tore off. And all they did was until I was able to see, an orthopedic and see what they were going to do. They just put like medical stuff on me that made it really tight and stuff, and had me on crutches. Gave me a bunch of pain pills, right? Well, guess what I did? I was back in the ring 2.5 weeks later. Okay, I still have problems with that. I still have problems to this day with that. But that's how we were built back then. We lived on. You got these guys nowadays they break a finger and they'll cancel a booking or they're off TV or whatever. Dude, man up or get the F out the business. Shit's gonna happen to you, but make sure you're careful, protect yourself. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I try to tell these kids is, look, take better care of yourself. If you have insurance, see therapists, like physical therapists. If you feel if anything does not feel right, you get it checked out and find out, get to the bottom of it, because it will get worse. Because that happened back in 94, 5, 6, somewhere around there. And I'm 54 years old and I'm still dealing with that issue because I didn't take care of it the way I should have. I did it the old school way, and that's how we lived back then.
Yeah, I mean, it is first, foremost, physically take care of yourself there.
Yes.
A big thing now, mental health, which, I agree with. I don't think, showing any signs of weakness on that. Would you give advice to the kids that you're mentoring today? Because this can be a very stressful, daunting. You're out there in the public eye. Everything's not going to go your way. You're going to get a lot of stuff said about you. You got to be mentally strong.
All I can really tell you when it comes to anything mental is, for one, this might be off the subject. I don't know. Sponge off of the bets as much as you can. Do it. Whatever you can, sponge off the bets. Listen to us, listen to our advice, listen to our critiques, anything and everything, because we're trying to help you. We're trying to better you. We're trying to make your mental health better and everything. Do not let these promoters, especially these fly-by-nights or these tax refund promoters or outlaw promoters, do not let them bully you or make you feel insecure about yourself. And the other thing is, try to have a little bit more confidence in yourself, or come to people like me that will help build your confidence. I have a couple people that I've helped build their confidence, where their level was like, and one of them, levels like here, there, and working with that person over and over, I've seen such a huge change, and this person's becoming more and more successful. Has already had what two championships right now, like major championships, not Joe Schmo's backyard promotion champion. We're talking a world
Hey, I
recognized
love Joe Schmo. He's a
voice.
great promoter.
Right? Especially at tax time.
Right? Hey, you stooge it
So,
off. I was going to let you know. I
hey,
was going to offer you
you saw my latest tattoos, right?
pin me, pay me,
Old,
right?
that's old school. Pin me. Look, see this? That's the fist for pin me. Pay me is put my money in my hand. To see how it looks worn out, I had it look like that, so it looks like there was a lot of money put in my hand. There wasn't, but
Yeah, I'm
but
sure. I'm
yeah,
really
pay
sure.
me, baby.
I'm sure that's why it's worn out. Yeah, we're buying that. But JT, we're kind of up against it, man. I appreciate you being here with me, but I know you
Of
wanted to
course.
take a little bit of time to really to dive in and let everybody know about this awesome project. You guys have got something truly special happening inside of independent wrestling here in Mid Ohio, and I'm talking if this isn't a regular indie show. I mean, this is state of the art production. You book talents that look like professional wrestlers. You got great story, great connection, well-known names, up and comers. Why don't you tell us a lot more here about Armbar Pro Wrestling?
Armbar is out of Dayton or Springfield area and stuff. It's run by a couple guys. One of them he wrestled as Bodacious. He's a very good friend of mine. We've been brothers since we went to Charlie Fulton School. He's the one that brought me aboard. Then he's got, his partner, which, he doesn't like to be recognized, so I won't say his name. He is one of the talents, though, very talented. Was trained by Les Thatcher, so he's been trained too, and knows the business. What I like about Armbar too is, like our production value is like there's no other, and that you've seen our promotion. There is no other indie here in Ohio, in my opinion, that can touch us when it comes to production and everything else. We're kind of like War, where we own our own stuff. Okay, we don't pay anybody for a ring. We don't pay nobody for guardrails, seats. No, we own it all. Everything that we make goes back into the company. Nobody takes a check. I've been working for free since it started, and that's because I don't want anything. I just want to be there to help my brothers out and to be a part of something special that I knew from the get go was going to be special. We have bigger things coming. I don't know if I can let the cat out the bag, but I'm kind of going to, so that this definitely happens. But we're talking about opening up a school, and nobody's going to be, oh well, you're the head trainer. No, the idea that I've always had is we're all equal. We're coaches. We're not. I'm not the head trainer. Bo's not the head trainer. His partner's not the head trainer. Chris Ledbetter, anybody else is not the head trainer. We're all the trainers, and we're the coaches. Nobody's above anybody. Everybody has their own skill set. Mine's old school psychology, talent creation. What do you call that? Creative and stuff. I come up with good gimmicks for people and things like that. I have a lot of ideas with that. We got guys. It's just we have. That's why we're just gonna. I'll just put it that way. That's why we're gonna do it the way we're doing it. But I
Well,
want
from
everybody, if you can, check out Armbar Pro Wrestling. Go on Facebook, YouTube. Dude, we're setting Dayton on fire. We have competition that's run by a former TNA, all this other kind of stuff, and big name. Everybody knows him,
it's
hardcore
Revolver.
guy even.
It's Revolver Wrestling that people know. They run the same area.
They run the same area. We're drawing more than them, and they're bringing in big names. Okay, that's because we are letting the fans tell us what they want, and our talent is getting the fans invested in their characters. So that's why we've been so successful. It's getting bigger and bigger. We're getting more and more sponsors. We have a new We have a new place, Lanes Sports Complex, I think it's called, up there. 'Cause I'm here in Cincinnati, so. But that's a new place that we're running shows. I think the way we're going to do that, that's going to be like the storylines, and then leading to the big show, which is our monthly show. Well, we have shows every 2 months. So in between those 2 months is when we're going to have these shows, and it's also going to feature new talent that we're going to look at. Um, I am heavily involved with that. I vet all talent. I'm very anal, as you know. So that's why if you come to our show, you will see nothing but pure talent. We don't hire fly by nights or untrained, uh, garbage. We don't bring garbage wrestlers in.
And I wanted to answer that as well. If you happen to Mid Ohio, you can check them out online there. One of what makes it so unique is in the production. And it is, people want to feel familiar with what they see on television. And with your guys' entrances, your lighting sets, your music, the energy you create in the arena, the set design, it is like something could see on television. And you get that same energy.
I mean, you've seen the pictures. You've been there. You've seen, we got the big trusses with lights, and they're not just little short trusses like some of these indies are doing with a light on. Ours are like arena lights that are facing down on the ring, so we can turn off all the lights, and it gives you that old school feel. You feel like you're in the old Civic Center watching the NWA days. That's what I feel armbars like we're all about respect and tradition, and in my opinion, it takes me back to the days when I would go down to Riverfront Coliseum when Georgia Championship Wrestling would come up, before it changed to WCW and all that. And it was pitch black. You had the ring and all the lights strictly on the ring. You know, that is what I like, and that's what we do. We're going back to old school, but new school, so that the fans know that we're here for you.
You guys are doing something very special for professional wrestling, independent wrestling there in Mid
I
Ohio.
appreciate that. Thank
That
you.
is Armbar Pro Wrestling. You can find them on all socials. I believe you guys got a YouTube page. JT, I want to keep calling you your damn shoot name, but JT, anything else you want to put over before we get out of here, brother?
Hey, I want to thank you for this opportunity, dude. This was fun. Hope we can do it more. It looks like one of your fans were like, we need to have this guy on here more. He needs his own show. Because, dude, I do. I love to shoot straight. You know me? That's why I'm the heat sinker. I got people that hate me in this biz because, look, I just tell how it is. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I've always been that way. I think that's the other reputation I had in the biz is, I was a shooter. So if I had to straighten somebody up, I had to do it. But it's not something that I ever liked, but it's a job. But the thing is look, this business, I'm tired of seeing it going to crap, and I'm tired of watching these paycheck or these tax refund people running shows, or people that are drawing 10 people. They're buying buildings or renting buildings, and they're still only drawing like 10, 15 people. And it's like, dude, like you're not doing something right. I mean, I can tell you why. I tried to help clean up a couple of these places, as you know, and it just didn't work, because they wanted to do it their way. They didn't want to listen to somebody that has the knowledge, that has somebody in their ear that you know very well, Mr. Bill Brown, who owned Florida Championship Wrestling, Sunshine Wrestling Federation, sold it to WWE, right? That's been my mentor since I met him in 92. That's been my mentor and my father figure all these years. He's the one that taught me the promotion part of it, being a promoter, what the fans look for, this and that. So that's why I'm so anal about everything. I've had the right people at the right time in my life to help me um, with all this knowledge,
Oh
and I
yeah,
just want
brother.
to get back. I just want to get back, and it's guys like you that I love in this business because you get it, you understand it. We may not always see eye to eye, but you at least listen to me and I listen to you. We can agree to disagree, you know?
Yeah, I think you drop a name there, Mr. Bill Brown, who I've had many great conversations with. Storm, I would love to have you back more frequently with me on these things. I wish Jimmy
Thank
would have
you.
been with us, but hey, I'd love to get Mr. Brown on for a conversation with us
Anytime, brother. He'll
at
do
some
it.
point. I know. Hey,
he
he loves.
would have to do it through the phone. He would have to do it through the phone because he's not technically a man. Like I can't
Well,
even call him on Messenger. He won't even. He doesn't even know how to work Messenger or call.
we'll get him there. We'll get him some tech support, but he's one of those old school dogs. You're one of those old school dogs. But speaking of old school dogs, Storm here today, but coming up this Monday in the Monday locker room when I'll be back on the air with the guy whose name is on the door, Ben Hameen. We're going to be joined Monday, ladies and gentlemen, by a straight shooter, old schooler. Rip Rogers is going to be on with Ben and I on Monday.
Rip. Everybody loves Rip, man.
That's going to be a good one. Hey, but
when you talk to him, I mean, look, when you have him on here, say, what's the story about Brown Bag? That's all you got to say. What's the Brown Bag story?
Awesome. I'll put it in my notes to bring it up. But again, Rip's going to be on Monday, locker room with Ben and I, high noon coming up this Monday. Make sure you catch out all the other awesome content here on the Hameen Media Group, the daily watch-alongs with Let's Go Brandon. Hey, coming up, right now it's already dropped. The Friday locker room. Ben and MSG had some great conversations. Little heat between us and NWA. Ben's got the Iggy on that one. You want to check that out?
I love the NWA.
Yeah. Coming up this weekend, Wreckage with the Vet and Jimmy T. All the other awesome shows. Check them out. Again, give us some love here. I know if you're listening, you're already a subscriber, but share the link, all the content. Again, JT Storm, brother, thank you so much.
You.
We're going to have you back here more often, brother. But this has been your Thirsty Thursday, better late than never, SmackAttack.